I pretty much got nothing. I'm not going to leave my mom by herself. So I'm going to make sure my mother's taken care of. None of my siblings have helped me take care of my mother to make sure she was okay, except for Tamar. No one said,
This is before Vincent.
Before Vincent. Mommy's car insurance is due. Let's help Toni with mommy car insurance.
Or mommy needs a car.
Normally, I would never have a conversation with Trina or any of my sisters about helping out financially with my mom. But because I'm so stressed in that category, I needed to let her know what I felt. Hurts my feelings every day. My feelings hurt every day because I'm in a financial situation myself because I can't work the.
It appears like Tamar Braxton just blasted her own sister in the wildest way, and things are spinning out quickly. Tamar is accusing Toni Braxton of attempting to steal money that wasn't hers, and the alleged receipts are building up loudly. This is a twist that no one could have predicted. We're talking about silent account changes, covert financial transfers, and an alleged bankruptcy that Toni attempted to conceal. The way Tamar learned about it is much more complicated. Insiders claim that this was not an accidental discovery. Everything reportedly blew out when Toni's own bank noticed suspicious activity related to Tamar's money. Now that Tamar is accusing her sister of being a liar, a manipulator, and someone who's gone too far, everyone is wondering how this transitioned from familial affection to outright sabotage. This is where things start to get serious. The rumors regarding Toni's financial problems have been circulating for years. Court disputes, past due obligations, and bankruptcy proceedings. Her financial life has never been easy. However, nobody anticipated that her own sister would be embroiled in such a complex situation. Insiders claim that Tamar just found out that Toni supposedly attempted a sly move behind her back. And not just any move. Without uttering a word, she allegedly attempted to access Tamar's financial resources.
Most of the time, I don't like my family. Everyone in my family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, it wouldn't be my friend.
Tamar is enraged. The entire thing is becoming worse in real time, and Toni is remaining silent. Tamar made it quite evident that she is not someone to be tested when it comes to her finances. According to some accounts, she lost it entirely when she learned what Toni had allegedly done, and things quickly became serious. We're talking about calling the police, legal threats, and an overwhelming amount of rage that no one could ignore. The friction between the sisters has been simmering for a long time, as anyone who has followed the Braxton family for years is aware. Almost everyone is at a running with Tamar at some point. Therefore, this could be the point at which things ultimately blew up if Toni indeed did anything behind her back. One thing about Tamar, though, is that she never keeps silent when she feels insulted. She speaks loudly, clearly, and unfilteredly. Additionally, she has been informing people that Toni's actions were not only wrong, but blatantly cunning. Regarding Toni, many close to the family claim that she has been having financial difficulties as a result of her constant attempts to keep everyone together. She has been under such pressure for years. However, her pricey taste, which has accompanied her for a long time, is the other half of that narrative. We're talking about private jets, high-end goods, enormous residences, lavish vacations, and the entire superstar lifestyle. Toni has never been afraid to pursue the finer things because she has always enjoyed them. Therefore, it appears that she may have looked for methods to maintain that similar lifestyle when money became tight rather than making cuts. If the insider information is accurate, she may have gone too far with her own sister in order to preserve that reputation, which is precisely why Tamar is currently so tense. However, this is where the situation becomes much more serious. Additionally, Toni acknowledged that she had been paying their mother's expenses for years. She opened up before stating that no one else was adequately handling things, so she had to step in. She acknowledged that Tamar occasionally assisted, but based on what has been revealed, most of that burden remained on Toni's shoulders. You can see how things could have quickly gotten out of control when you combine the stress of taking care of their mother with attempting to maintain that opulent lifestyle. And it's obvious why Toni has been having trouble making ends meet when you take into account their mom's costly requirements in addition to Toni's already expensive tastes. Behind the scenes, rumors claim that she came dangerously close to running out of money. At that point, the situation drastically changed. According to insiders, she allegedly began dipping into Tamar's money stream at that point, and no one is still certain how she managed to pull that off. However, whatever she did obviously went too far, since Tamar reacted right away after learning of it. Because she is not someone you can mess with when it comes to her money, she immediately went into full defensive mode. This is the portion that most stun people. Toni hasn't really concealed how she feels about her sisters. She candidly acknowledged in one interview that she doesn't even enjoy them most of the time. Tamar not only becomes irritated with them, but also dislikes them. Nothing at all. What's already a difficult scenario gets even hotter when you hear something like that. Therefore, if there was already tension between them, this financial turmoil not only increased it, but also completely destroyed it. And that's before you even consider how Tamar has repeatedly called Toni out in public. None. The gaslighting is crazy, and I'm going back into treatment, but I'm so mad at my life, she wrote in one of her many social media posts. My family is poisonous. I should never have returned to the ideals of the Braxton family. Never. I'm experiencing it. This TV step is a lot, and I'm depressed and single. Everyone was glued to their screens just because of that post. And it wasn't even half of it, because Toni will be barred for half of Tamar, and the internet witnessed that directly. Toni said, I wanted to repost the gorgeous picture of you, but I'm blocked again anyway, on Tamar's birthday last year. Happy birthday, Tay. Tamar didn't overlook that at all. I block my sisters all the time, she said, clapping back. You make me nervous. She blocked it. Then, once more, she went directly beneath Toni's article and used what may be referred to as gaslighting. She wasn't finished yet. Everyone was discussing after Tamar added another message. Will you all quit fooling with me? My birthday's today. Everything became a full-fledged family circus. Additionally, each message made it abundantly evident that these sisters are currently at odds with one another. I'm celebrating with my friends and not bothering a soul, Tamar continued. You did it to be cruel, as if we didn't communicate. In any case, happy birthday to me. I also adore you. And that immediately demonstrated to everyone the extent of the strain. For years, these two have been at odds, and the back and forth has never really ceased. Therefore, it's not shocking at all that Tamar is suddenly criticizing Toni, particularly over money. The notion that Toni Braxton would even need to take such a step in the first place, however, is unexpected. She is regarded as a confirmed superstar, a legend, and a complete music icon. Someone with her resume shouldn't be handling any sort of financial issue behind the scenes. In actuality, though, Toni has a lengthy and intricate history of financial difficulties, and as soon as you start making the connections, everything starts to make sense. Toni was all over the place back in the 1990s, hit after hit, sold-out performances, and platinum albums. She was dominating the charts and earning a lot of money. However, she lost nearly everything, not just once, but twice. In 1998, she filed for bankruptcy for the first time, shocking the whole industry. People couldn't comprehend how someone so famous, well-known, and successful could be broke all of a sudden. She was at the top of her game. As a result, the news was shocking. Furthermore, things didn't suddenly improve after that. She struggled with money for years, and they became louder rather than quieter. Headlines got harsher, the press went wild, and the stress started taking a genuine toll on her career and personal life. She was at the top of the world one minute and struggling to rebuild after a string of financial setbacks the next. Nobody anticipated what would happen next, but at one point, Toni and Oprah sat down to discuss things, and things quickly went south.
So freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%.
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked up to her. And she pretty much reprimanded me. And immediately, she made me feel this big. That moment completely changed my career. It made people look down.
Oprah began probing her about her spending patterns and highlighted some of the decisions that initially contributed to the debt. Rather than dissecting it and accepting responsibility, Toni shut down entirely. She became upset, claimed Oprah was cruel, and positioned herself as the victim. It was painful to watch the entire interview, and what was meant to improve her reputation ended up making matters worse. However, Toni was able to recover from that initial bankruptcy, and for a little moment, it appeared as though things were finally stabilizing. The music continued to pour, she continued to be the center of attention. Everyone believed that she had at last regained her footing. However, that article was short-lived. The issues immediately reappeared. She filed for bankruptcy once more in 2010.
and things were considerably more dire this time. Everyone was shocked once more when Toni stated her debts were between $10 million and $50 million, according to sources. She claimed that the turning point occurred when her Las Vegas residency was canceled, immediately following her diagnosis of a significant cardiac issue, which had a severe financial impact. However, there were other problems around her as well. Behind the scenes, there were unsuccessful commercial transactions, managerial issues, and more money going unnoticed. The financial hole was enormous by the time everything caught up with her, and it laid the groundwork for all the stress she is currently dealing with. A mountain of unpaid taxes was piling up in the background, along with complicated arguments over what was covered and insurance issues that kept coming up. One problem seemed to follow another, and soon her whole financial situation fell apart once more. Since then, Toni has made an effort to maintain her composure, but the data clearly shows the true picture.
When I was first diagnosed with having lupus, I was so down, I was so depressed, and the doctors told me I would never be able to work again, your music career is over, but the man upstairs that had a whole other plan for her.
Simply put, the music hasn't been landing as well as it once did. Her most recent album only sold about 7,000 copies and peaked at number 163 on the Billboard 200, shocking many given that she used to effortlessly dominate charts. The previous project, which sold about 16,000 copies, didn't do any better. And those figures were a serious red flag for someone with her legacy. Due to the sharp decline in album sales, the majority of her earnings came from the Braxton reality program. However, even that began to slow down. The buzz had changed. The ratings declined. Fans began to ask serious questions as the strain behind the scenes continued to build in the absence of significant publicity events or new songs. Did she truly have a romantic relationship with Birdman? Or did it have to do with surviving? Because many were raising their eyebrows due to the timing. Toni unexpectedly reappeared next to Birdman, just as reports began to circulate that she would be declaring bankruptcy again. And this came after years of total separation, almost any public communication, and no indication that they would ever get back together. Fans were therefore immediately taken aback by the timing of her unexpected reappearance with him. People couldn't help but question if this was a genuine reunion or if Toni was attempting to maintain stability at a time when everything looked to be collapsing once more. It seemed far too practical. Many fans are now certain that this wasn't about a classic romance making a comeback. When everything appeared to be going south for Toni, it was a full-scale strategic maneuver. It's possible that getting back in touch with Birdman was more about survival than love. And for a moment, let's be honest, it was a crazy moment. Everyone was shocked when Toni and Birdman unexpectedly reappeared together in 2023.
I'm engaged.
He did good, right?
He did well, all right? Very well. Take a day.
She had said that they were done for good for years. No conflicting signals, no maybe one day, nothing. She was very clear that there was no possibility of a reunion. So when she changed the whole script and started getting close to him again, people instantly felt like something didn't line up. People are beginning to put the pieces together now that Tamar is speaking up and making the disaster public. Fans have been observing the peculiar atmosphere between Toni and Birdman even before this most recent controversy erupted. After her extremely awkward interview with Tamron Hall in 2022, many people became aware of it. Recall that Toni discussed the lupus diagnosis during her appearance on the show. It was meant to be a gentle, sentimental exchange. However, as soon as Tamron said Birdman's name, everything changed. Toni froze. In an instant, the atmosphere in the room became strained as she hardly made eye contact. You didn't require a body language specialist. Anyone observing could see that something wasn't right. Fans began to question if there was something going on behind the scenes that she didn't want to discuss, as her entire demeanor changed. And now that all of this new drama is emerging through Tamar, many are beginning to believe they weren't dreaming after all.
Whatever was going on between them didn't seem to be quite as ideal as they wanted others to think. However, things became even more bizarre since, according to Tamar, Toni supposedly sold her engagement ring from Birdman in the past to pay off some significant debts before telling everyone it was lost. And do you recall how significant that moment was? When Birdman proposed in 2018, he displayed that enormous yellow diamond ring, which was allegedly valued at $5 million. The entire internet was talking about it because it was spectacular and dramatic. For a time, it looked like they were moving towards some fairy tale kind of finale. However, after that, there was silence. No actual plans, no updates on the wedding, nothing. The wedding was repeatedly postponed, initially postponed, then essentially ignored. Fans weren't buying Toni's repeated claims that it was a timing issue. Everything about the situation seemed strange. The largest warning sign then appeared. The ring magically disappeared. Toni claimed that on a flight, she unintentionally left the ring inside a suitcase, and when the luggage returned, the ring was missing. At the time, people were perplexed, but ignored it. Well, now Tamar is apparently saying something totally different. She asserts that Toni never lost that ring. Tamar is implying that Toni allegedly pawned it to pay off bills that she was unable to manage. To be honest, nobody would be surprised by that.
Toni's financial history has always been erratic, and several industry insiders have said that she has been struggling financially for some time. She might have required quick money and made a move she believed no one would notice if things were truly that serious behind the scenes. It's being said that Toni did what many individuals do when they're desperate and have no other choice. However, the entire story is quickly coming to light now that Tamar is speaking up. To make ends meet, she allegedly sold the $5 million engagement ring, which was the most costly item she owned at the time. Now let's fast forward to the present. It appears like Toni may have attempted to make a move on more people than only Tamar. 2 weeks after they secretly wed, Toni reportedly filed for divorce from Birdman. Additionally, she asserted that they broke up just 2 days after the wedding. This is the portion, though, that had everyone gawking at the screen in disbelief. According to some accounts, Toni allegedly attempted to take home a $160 million divorce settlement. Take a moment to consider that. Married for less than a month, together for only days, and already seeking to walk out with a huge piece of Birdman's company?
Fans were taken aback. It was referred to as strategic by some. Some claimed that it appeared to be the actions of a straight gold digger. She steals my money and energy. In any case, the internet wasn't letting it go, and the figures weren't adding up. People started to wonder if she had planned this whole thing from the beginning as a means of getting out of the financial bind she had been in for years. Thus, this is the actual question at hand. Did any of it really have to do with love? Or was Toni hoping for a big payoff in order to make a comeback? Because leaving a marriage after 2 days and striving for millions left viewers perplexed, distrustful, and questioning whether this was a relationship camouflaged as a survival play. Every aspect of Toni's life has appeared more intricate than anyone had anticipated. Additionally, the circumstances surrounding her divorce only serve to highlight her financial position. $160 million. That is the part that no one can comprehend. Everything about the situation seems strange. How, for example, can you leave a marriage so quickly and still feel entitled to such wealth? It raises the question of whether there was more going on behind the scenes, something that Toni hasn't explicitly stated.
Many fans now claim that this never seemed like a true love tale and that it was set up from the start. In actuality, Toni has been acting particularly needy lately, and the figures no longer make sense. It seems more significant than a straightforward money issue. It seems as though she is attempting to be silent while there's a lot of chaos going on in the background. It's difficult not to wonder what's actually happening at this point. Furthermore, it's not just Tamar who's being criticized now that Toni's own bank has allegedly acknowledged bankruptcy concerns. There may be concrete evidence that the financial issues are genuine. Tamar seemed to be doing more than just protecting herself. It's possible that she's revealing actual receipts. Furthermore, it's not only messy if Toni truly attempted to manipulate her own sister on top of everything else. That is a whole different kind of betrayal, because you can only think about what she would try with anyone else if she was willing to do something like that with her own family. However, there are two things that are certain. This drama is far from finished, and the repercussions will soon become even more audible. Make sure to share your opinions, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and click the like button. I'll see you in the upcoming one.